Welcome to the Key to All Things Real Estate podcast, your top source for everything you need to know about the Tennessee real estate market. I'm Krystal Gray, your host and Nashville-based super realtor, and I'm excited to have you with us today. Each week, I sit down with real estate professionals, industry experts, and people just like you to explore the latest trends, share valuable insights, and offer practical tips to help you buy, sell, and invest with confidence. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, an experienced investor, or just curious about the local market, this podcast is your one-stop shop for all things real estate in Tennessee. We're proudly sponsored by the Classic Key Real Estate School, where we believe in empowering you with knowledge and skills to make the best real estate decisions. So grab you a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's unlock the doors to your real estate success together. Are you ready? So thank you, Miss Katie, for joining the podcast today, The Key to All Things Real Estate. I am the host, Krystal Gray. Thank you for coming and joining us. Katie, you have been in the real estate industry here in Nashville, Tennessee. You are a team leader at Morrell Property Group with Compass.
Morrell Property Collective, yes.
Morrell Property Collective. Sorry about that.
Okay.
At Compass Real Estate, and I think you lead a team of about 16.
Yes, correct.
Gotcha. And you all are selling anything in the Middle Tennessee area, Nashville area, all the way to East Tennessee.
Correct.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today. Again, I know we're talking about the weather. It's very, very hot here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes.
So, and Katie is cooling down on her back porch while we do this podcast. So,
Yes.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thanks for having me.
You are welcome. So, how many years have you been in the real estate industry?
I've been in the real estate industry around 22 years.
22 years. Awesome. Have you only done it here in Tennessee, or have you worked in any other states or areas?
I actually got my license first in Bristol, Virginia. I sold real estate. I was in real estate for about 15 years in the Tri-Cities area. So the northeast tip of the state. So a little town called Bristol, which borders two different states, Virginia and Tennessee. So I got my license in Virginia first because it reciprocated in the state of Tennessee. So it saved me from having to take two tests.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So what is one thing that inspired you to start working with clients in the real estate market?
Buying my own home. I bought my first home when I was 22, and I just loved everything about the entire process, from buying a home that we fully renovated and architecture, design, and then the buying process and working with a real estate agent.
Gotcha. So you purchasing your first home is what kind of got you in real estate, and you all were able to renovate that home. And okay.
Yes, that was built in 1919, and we gutted it basically to the studs.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh. Okay. So talk to me about the challenges with that renovation. I know there had to be some.
Oh yeah, there were a million. I mean, you just peel back the layers, and every layer had a problem underneath each layer, from asbestos to adding additions and ripping off roofs and just everything you could think of. It was a big challenge, but it was a big reward.
Awesome. So how long did the renovation take for that property?
About a year, because we did it as we could afford it and we were young. So
Gotcha. Would you do it again?
I have done it again. So yes, I would do it again. I would do it again. Yeah.
Awesome. So is that something that you all do like on a regular basis, renovate homes, or just
No,
Okay.
just personal. I mean, you generally don't build. We buy something that's existing and then renovate and love it until we decide it's time to do it again.
Okay, that is awesome. So how has your entrepreneurial spirit influenced your career in real estate?
Well, I've done a lot of different things. I've done everything from owning my own brokerage in Bristol. I was one of the owners at Realty Executives of Bristol, to opening a hot yoga studio in Johnson City, having a couple of restaurants at one time, having a convenience store. There's a lot of different
Oh,
plates that I've
girl.
spun in my career. Yeah.
It sounds like it, but
Uh,
that's awesome. And you definitely have to have the entrepreneur spirit if it's more than one business, right, that you're getting
Right.
into. I know I find myself caught up in that sometimes. I'm like, oh, well, let me add that. Oh, well, let me do that. And then
Yep.
sometimes I'm like, Krystal, stop.
Stop. I know. Stop. That's what I made. I made that decision when I moved to Nashville. I was not going to spin a million different plates. I was just going to spin the real estate plate. And one way I've been able to do that and still satisfy my entrepreneurial spirit is building a team within the real estate community. So that's been fun. I've been able to just concentrate on real estate, but expand the team.
That's awesome. And what office are you all at with Compass? Is it the Franklin office or
We're the
the
Green
Nashville?
Hills office,
Green
Nashville,
Hills.
Green Hills office right above True Food.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, being in the real estate industry for as long as you have, what would you say what is your favorite type of property to work with, and why would you choose that one?
I really love to work with, there's so many different aspects that I love to work with, but I always think that working with the first time home buyer is really satisfying because it's their first purchase, and it's so intimate, and they're new to it, and it's fun, and you're helping someone achieve one of their biggest goals and investments.
Yeah,
So that's always fun, but I always like working with clients that are upsizing or downsizing. There's not one in particular that I prefer over the other.
gotcha.
I love the entire process with,
Yeah.
different walks of life. That's what makes it exciting, that every deal's so different.
Yes, absolutely. I tell people all the time, they're like, "Don't you get tired of 'em?" I'm like, some of them are the same, but then there's some little nuance that's
Right.
different, which helps keep us on our toes, right? Because sometimes I'm like,
Exactly.
I didn't know that until I went through this transaction. So I always tell people they're always the same, but they're really always different too.
They are.
And I
Sorry.
would have to when you talk about first time home buyers and that being a very intimate experience, I like the first time home buyers too because I feel I'm educating them or, I'm
Right.
helping them and explaining what things are, how things work, what do these things mean. So it's always a little bit more fulfilling for me in a sense. I like working with anybody. Of course, hey, we're not picky, we take whatever
Yeah.
business we can get.
Right.
But when it comes to those first time home buyers who, I don't know, I feel like I get to put on a cape, so to speak. And
Agree.
yes,
Agree. Show your value. Mhm.
absolutely. That is awesome. So the yoga studio, you did mention that. So do you still
Mhm.
have that hot yoga studio?
No, I sold it 6 years ago to one of the teachers in my studio, and it was in Johnson City, so I didn't feel like I would. Yoga is really about community, and you need to be present in the community. And
Mm,
so I felt like if I were moving to Nashville, it would be best for that community, to have
yeah,
someone there
boots on the
that was
ground.
leading everything.
Gotcha.
So she's done a phenomenal job. They're still open and thriving, and she's really taken the baton and elevated it. That's what I
Um,
started. So,
that's awesome. So do you still teach yoga here in Nashville from time to time, or is that
I
just
did when
something?
I first moved here, but now I just really enjoy being a student. I love showing up and someone telling me what to do, because I feel like all day that's what I'm doing, is
I
people
know.
what to do. So,
Isn't that easier? I'm like, yeah, take
yeah.
my hand and show me the way.
Just
It's
tell me what to do. Exactly.
right. It's a little bit more relaxing that way
Yeah.
as opposed to you being the one. So I totally get that.
Yeah.
So you are a mother and you mentioned your husband. So how many children do you all have?
We have two kids. I have a 20-year-old and 18-year-old. I'm officially going to be an empty nester starting in the fall.
Girl, you
Oh,
do not look like an empty nester.
oh,
No,
I
ma'am.
do. I do. You just got to zoom in. I promise. You just got to
Hey,
zoom in.
hey, that's a compliment, Katie. You got to take them when you can get
You're
them. You got
sweet. You're sweet.
to.
Thank you. It's a very bittersweet time in my life. You know, the greatest accomplishment of my life is being a mom to these two kiddos, and no one really prepares for you to release them back into the wild.
I know.
I like
Yeah.
to say it's gonna be fun to watch, see them
Yeah.
develop into their own and see what paths they decide to take. And I've been married to their dad for it'll be 23 years in September, and I still really like
Wow.
him a lot. So we're
That's
looking
awesome.
forward to that. Yeah, we're looking forward to that chapter.
That is awesome. I'm kind of in the same boat with you. I have a 20-year-old, I have an
Oh,
18-year-old who just graduated, and then
you
I
are.
have a 16-year-old. So I have two girls and one boy. My son he just left to work. He's been working. So
Mhm.
anyway, now he thinks he's a man. But anyhow, it
I
is
love it.
different kind of seeing your children evolve. And then it just kind of hit me one day like, I don't have babies anymore.
It's weird.
They don't meet you at the door anymore. They're not longing for you
Uh-uh.
anymore. So
No.
I did something crazy and got two dogs, two
Yeah.
puppies at the same
Yeah.
time.
Good. Good. I have three.
Awesome. Okay,
So
yeah.
I'm right there with you have three kids, I have three dogs. I've got two kids. You've got
Yep.
three.
So we're right reverse. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just like, "Oh, dogs make you feel special no matter
Yes.
what."
Exactly. They greet you at the
Oh,
door
they
for
do. They
yeah.
do. Yeah. So anyway, I always joke with people about that. I'm like, yeah, I have no more babies, but now I got dogs. So
Yeah. Fur babies.
almost, yes, there you go.
Yeah.
Being in the real estate industry, as long as you have and you've learned the Nashville, Middle Tennessee market, what is something that gives you motivation to keep pushing, even if you've had like a rough patch? Like I don't know if you are experiencing
Mm,
anything rough right
mm,
now, but I know a lot of other realtors
mm.
are with the way the market is.
I just love a challenge. I love goal setting. You know, once a year, our team really sets some big goals, and it's really fun when you can check those off and you
Mm,
hit them. And then if you don't, just going back out there and trying to hit them again. I just love setting goals. I love a challenge, and I truly love what I do every day. So it's a joy to get up and go out and help people,
yeah.
be solution driven and help people achieve their real estate goals.
Yeah. So right now could be somewhat of a challenging time even for our clients. What is
Mhm.
some of the advice or suggestions maybe that you share with your clients to help keep them focused that this is possible, whatever their real estate goal may be?
I think just really focusing on the data that you have available at your fingertips through MLS, comps, things like that, making sure that your sellers are pricing appropriately, that they're not living back in 2020, 2021,
Mhm.
and, set expectations on the front. I think people are only let down if the expectations aren't set. So making sure that sellers know that it is softening a bit and it is becoming somewhat of a buyer's market. And so they should be on the
Okay.
lookout for negotiation and inspection requests, repair
Hmm.
requests, maybe having to offer some concessions. Also, informing buyers just because the interest rates are high doesn't mean it's not a great time to buy. They're going to
Right.
have less competition right now. They're going to be able to get the concessions, they're going to be able to negotiate price, they're going to be able to get the repair requests, which they once couldn't. And once those
Yeah.
interest rates drop, it's going to become harder for them. So
Yeah.
just knowing the market, being able to provide the data, and just showing your value. It's always about showing your value,
That's so true.
and this is a great time for market share as an agent because the people who just got their license and wanted to sell their brother's house or their mother's house or the buddy's house, it's a time when that's going to kind of weed out because times are tougher. And so it's really a great time for someone who wants to do this as a full-time career to jump in, show their value and grab that market share.
Absolutely. I had another guest on the podcast earlier today, and we were talking about the same thing. Back in 2019, 2020. early 20, well, before COVID hit,
Mhm.
we dealt with a lot of multiple offers. We had a lot of buyers disappointed that, hey, we can't hardly find anything because we also
Mhm.
had those big REIT companies that were coming in and buying up a lot of real estate just to turn around and rent them out. So it was
That's
kind of,
right.
crowded, so to speak, at that time.
Mhm.
But a lot of people got into real estate at that time because in their minds they're like every house that is listed it's selling within a couple of days and it's multiple offers. So some of them have the misconstrued ideal or the wrong concept about what it actually takes to be a full-time realtor. It's not that easy anymore. You got to market, you have to really work.
Stage. We got a stage again, girl.
We got to do that too. Yes, we have to do all of it. But I think what's happening now has kind of weeded some of those realtors out too, who just thought, "Hey, yeah, I can get my license and I'm gonna even sell a couple of houses." Well, now
That's
people
right.
are starting to see it's not as easy as it may appear to be. So,
I'm
yeah.
in a really interesting place with my team because I started my team in 2020. And I was always an individual agent previous to that. So I just worried about myself. And I worked through 2008. I understand the ups and downs of this business. And 2020, gosh, hiring my new agents, they didn't even know what a repair request was.
Wow.
They weren't even dealing with counter offers. It was all about escalation clauses and
Oh, yeah.
multiple offer. And it was so funny. I'm like, guys, I hope you enjoy this because I promise you it is not going to last. And now here we are, fast forward. And it's been really interesting to watch these agents become pretty seasoned quickly because they've gone from two extremes,
Yeah.
you
That's
know?
very true.
It's
Yeah.
fast, it's feast or famine,
Famine, that's right. Ride the wave while you can.
That's right. So it's really interesting to see this in real time in such a short period.
Yeah, that is true. I didn't think about it from that standpoint, but yeah, that is definitely true. So now your agents, you're seeing them now they have a little time in the game and maybe a lot different than what it was when they first joined.
A
So
lot different.
yeah,
A
yeah,
lot.
that's awesome. So your team, how did you go about getting your team and growing your team? What were some of the strategies that you used?
Honestly, Crystal, I know this sounds crazy, but it just organically happened. I got to a place where my husband and I were doing it, and you hit kind of your limit and you think, I got to scale, right?
Mm,
And then I just had people reaching out like, hey, if you ever need help, I'm interested in selling real estate. And, I would be curious if you ever thought about having a team. And we just kind of grew it that way. It was wild.
wow.
And then we scaled to where I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to have a transaction coordinator. I need a director of operations. And now we just hired on a new marketing coordinator. And it's all just, I've never scaled until I really needed to.
Mm,
If I had to do it all over again, I probably would suggest to people hire your director of operations and your marketing coordinator first.
mm. That would make
It,
that
it's
would make
scary
sense.
though. It's
Yeah.
scary, from a financial position because it's a salary employee
Yeah.
where the other people you're just betting on them, and if they work out, it's great. If they don't, it's cost you time and some resources, but it's not a salary position.
Yeah. That's very true. Yeah. And most people won't think to do it that way because they think do that when I get to that point, but they
Right.
don't get if you do that at first, even though it
It
might be scary.
sets you
The
up for success.
Yes, yes, you're
Mhm.
already be ready. So once it
Mhm.
does come in, because again, feast or famine, it could be the same
Mhm.
way with growing a team.
Mhm.
One day you may have one or two, and then within 3 weeks, you've got six more people who may want to come on board. So
That's right. And I've
yeah,
learned there are things that I'm really good at and there are things I'm not really good at. And quit trying to be great at everything.
yeah,
Just really focus on what you're really good at. And then if you can hire people who are really good at the other things, you can be really great as a whole at everything.
that is so true. Yep, delegate. If I can't do it, get it off my plate.
Right. Exactly. Or if you're
Good.
not good at it, or if you're better somewhere else. I'm
Yeah.
really best at developing relationships and growing the business. And I used to be so caught up in like the transaction coordination part,
Mm.
but once I was able to let go of some of that control, we were able to really grow.
Yeah. And that is part of having a team or wanting a team is understanding where the strengths are, especially your own, and where your weaknesses are, because
Mm-hmm.
what you may not do well, you may have someone else on the team. So it all works out, yes, as a whole.
Right.
That
That's
is
right.
that is awesome. So, do you have a lot of clients, or have you had many clients recently who buy homes that need renovating, or are you seeing that happen a little bit more often?
You are, because home prices are so expensive now. So people are, and it's partially because of interest rates. So people can't afford what they once could afford. And so they're settling on, we'll purchase this house and redo the kitchen, you know.
To make
So
it
I
work.
am seeing, yeah, I am seeing that. But there's a lot of new construction in Nashville too.
It sure is. It is a
Mm.
lot of new construction. I had some clients looking at new construction, and I'm like, the thing of it is, right now, if you get in with the new construction, more than likely you're going to have instant equity by the time that community is completed. So that's
Exactly.
something, yeah, that's
Go
something
back.
we definitely want to tell our clients. So, what would you say, Katie? What are your long-term goals right now in the real estate industry? And then how do you set yourself up to achieve those goals?
So long-term goals, I would like to have 15 agents in Nashville and 10 agents in Knoxville. And I would like to be doing between 100 and 150 million in GCI for the team, and just becoming as process driven and as streamlined as we possibly can to best service our clients. So we're always refining our processes and just making sure that we're tight on
Yeah.
every.
Yeah, because that way, once they come in, you don't have to reinvent the wheelhouse. You don't have to go
That's
back
right.
to square one. These
That's
things
right.
are already in place, so jump on board.
Mhm. We want to
That
get through, a transaction and everybody say, "Oh gosh, that was so easy."
right. Yeah, I haven't heard that one in a while, but
Yeah, I know, right?
but we all have hope, right? It'll
That's right.
happen.
That's
Sometimes
right.
I feel like when I get one too easy, I start thinking, things are going
What's
pretty
coming?
smooth. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
this is too smooth. But yeah, that happens. Well, I thank you so much for joining this podcast this
Of
afternoon and
course.
kind of sharing your real estate journey with us. This podcast, we're hoping to capture all people, other agents. We want investors, we want buyers, we want sellers. We just want to talk about all things real estate. So I thank you for joining us today and sharing
Of course.
your expertise with us and some of your tips and tricks. And I hope that you have a good rest of your afternoon.
You too. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. We'll talk soon. You have a good
Okay.
one. All
All
right.
right. See you. Bye.
Bye. That's a wrap for this episode of the Key to All Things Real Estate podcast. Thank you so much for joining me, your host, Krystal Gray. I hope you found our discussion insightful, valuable for your real estate journey. And a big thank you to our sponsor, the Classic Key Real Estate School, for making this podcast possible. If you'd like to dive deeper into real estate topics or get your real estate license, or if you need continuing education credits, check them out for expert guidance and resources. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. This way you'll never miss an episode. If you enjoyed today's conversation, leave us a review and share it with your friends. Your feedback helps us keep bringing you the best content. If you have any questions or topics you would like for us to cover, reach out to us on social media or email us at krystal@classickeyrealty.com. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, let's keep unlocking the doors to your real estate success. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next episode.